Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Palm Tree Live. Glad to have you here for this tutorial. This is something I came across. It is in the wiki for Crusader Kings 3, and I will include the link in the video explanation. But this is something that I found very interesting. I wanted to pass it on because I think more people would be interested to know more about this too. But we all know that there's different personalities in the Crusader Kings 3 game. And actually, the AI uses these different personalities to make key decisions as they interact with your character and other characters. And so I want to talk about the different personalities within this tutorial. There are 9 different personalities that get tied to a character, an AI character, within Crusader Kings 3. And these personalities are determined by the different personality traits that a character would have. So there is a like a hidden personality attribute that's tied to a personality trait. So there's 9 of these, and so I'm going to talk through them, and then these play out to factor in how that AI personality is going to interact with your character. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to walk you through the different 9 AI personalities that a character could be assigned based off their personality traits, and then how that causes interaction with your character and other characters around them. And then we will go into how that personality, so the adjective and the noun, are assigned to a character. And what this should allow you to do is it should allow you to know, like, if you just pull up another character, whether they're a vassal under you, or they're on your council, or they're a neighboring ruler that you're going to have to interact with, it'll let you know very quickly if your interactions could be positive or could be negative, just by viewing how aggressively these traits would play out and what it would mean for you. So the first AI personality trait is boldness. Now with boldness, when you're getting into the -76 to -100, the very negative side that a trait would have, the adjective that's assigned is spineless and the noun is craven. The negative, which is -1 through -75, is going to be cowardly and the noun is coward. On the positive side, the adjective is bold and the noun is gambler. And then on the very positive side, the adjective is fearless and the noun is adventurer. Now within the boldness trait, here is a list of positive traits. So these personality traits will give you a positive towards boldness, and then you can see the different trait and how much positive boldness it gives. And that will factor into giving you, as all of those personality traits are factored in, this will give you a positive boldness factor. Or you can have negative traits, which can subtract from some of these positives. So for example, if you were honest, you would get a +10 positivity trait towards boldness. But if you were patient, it would actually take you -20, and so your total would be -10 boldness with this AI personality. And so with that -10, and we'll follow through and I'll explain this more later, but that -10 would take you into an adjective or a noun that said cowardly or coward, simply because you're honest and patient, but it takes you negative on this boldness attribute. Now the boldness attribute determines how much the character is affected by dread. So if you're on the negative side, you're going to be fearful of somebody who has a lot of dread. And if you're on the positive side, the more you're on the positive side of boldness, the less that dread is going to affect you when someone else has dread. And so an AI personality, if you have a lot of dread and you have vassals or you have neighboring rulers that are very fearful, they're on the negative side of boldness, and you have a lot of dread, they're not going to act out against you as much because they are fearful of you. But if you have very bold vassals or very bold counselors or very bold neighboring rulers, it does. I mean, you could have more dread. They're not going to back down from that. The next personality attribute is compassion. And so here you got the very negative side is an evil villain. The negative is callous brute. On the positive side, you've got compassionate altruist. And on the very positive side, you have a gracious empath. And how this interacts, how this causes the AI personality to interact with you is this is how an AI personality will treat their prisoners. And so if one of your children, if one of your vassals, if somebody in your court gets taken prisoner by a neighboring ruler, and they are an empath or gracious, they are very, very compassionate, they might be more likely to let them go for less. So less money. They may just release them. They're going to be more compassionate on that level. Whereas if you have an evil villain, they may just kill them. They may just go ahead and torture them. They may execute them. You may never see them again. That may be how it goes. So the compassion factor determines how that character will treat his prisoners. And this is the positive traits. So the more positive, the more forgiving, the more compassionate, the more empathetic that AI personality will be, that AI character. And on the negative side, the more they're likely to not be compassionate and not really care and be more callous and sadistic with how they interact with your character. Our next character attribute or personality attribute is greed. So you've got content lackey for the very negative. Negative is content follower. Positive is covetous grasper. And then the very positive is rapacious ravener. And so the positive, the attributes that would give more greed, you see here with those traits. And then for the negative, you have the traits that would cause you to go more negative with these traits. And what greed does, this personality attribute, it determines how an AI character will spend their gold. So if they are more greedy, they will be less likely to spend gold. And if they are less greedy and more generous, they are more likely to spend their gold. So this could be if you have captured some prisoners and things, this could be how likely they are to pay you versus just saying, nah, you can keep them. This could be somebody who's willing to interact with you, and if you're going into debt as a ruler, they may be willing to give you money to help you get out of debt, or to purchase something, or to help with the army maintenance. And that's how these different AI personality interactions would happen within greed. The fourth AI personality attribute is honor. On the very negative side, you have treacherous blackguard. The negative is dishonorable knave. The positive side would be honorable gentleman. And the very positive side is a righteous paragon. And how this interaction happens is this determines the AI character and how much they will honor relationships and alliances, how much they will become agents, so against you or for you. If they have a lot of honor, they may not want to help you. They also may help you depending on other attributes and what the scheme is. So on a vassal level, honor would be very important, because honor will, a character or a vassal with honor will be less hesitant to try to kill you, try to overthrow you, try to break a alliance or an alliance or a relationship. They're going to be more honorable in following you as the ruler. And so you can see the positive traits here that would give somebody more honor, and the attributes that would give somebody less honor. The fifth AI personality attribute is rationality. So we see the very negative is insane maniac, the negative is irrational fool, the positive is rational thinker, and the very positive is analytical planner. And so what this attribute of rationality determines is how strong a character's army has to be before declaring war. So this could be a vassal against vassal. It could be a neighboring ruler willing to attack you. If they're insane and a maniac, they may have 500 levies with no men at arms and just attack you in this huge army because they just don't care. They weren't trying to rationally think through something or plan on it. They just wanted to attack you. They had no rational idea what they were doing. And so the more positive that a person would have, or an AI character would have, the less likely they are to just randomly attack you without having the troops to come after you. So as you look at your neighboring rulers, they're probably not going to try to conquer your land if they're more rational and they know it's going to be less likely for us to actually conquer them. They're probably not going to attack you. The same for vassals within your realm that may want to overthrow you. If they have low honor but high rationality, they may go, we can't win this unless I have a lot of other people in this with me, and then they may all think collectively we can attack. And so you need to think through that on a rationality level as you're looking at your neighboring rulers and as you're looking at your vassals. AI personality attribute number 6 is vengefulness. So the very negative side of this would be magnanimous. Absolver would be the noun. On the negative side is forgiving conciliator. On the positive side is resentful quarreler. And on the very positive side is a vindictive antagonist. And so what this personality attribute does is it causes the AI character to determine how much the character will seek to punish transgressions. So the more positive you are in the vengefulness, the character is going to be more likely to seek out punishment for transgression. So if you have a lot of people in your life that like if you kill a family member, and a lot of your family is forgiving, which is more on the negative side, they're probably just going to overlook it and not care. But the characters that are more positive on here, they may be coming after you. They may try to do a murder scheme on you. They may try to overthrow you. They may try to declare independence against you because they're seeking punishment for that transgression. The same for if you have prisoners and you execute them or you torture them. If you have other family members that have enough strength to come after you and they don't like that you did that, they may attack you. That may be where you start a war because of that. So you can see the positive traits that would make someone more vengeful, an AI more vengeful here. And in the same, you can see the negative, what would cause someone to be more negative on a vengeful side and not care as much about being wronged. Our 7th personality attribute is zeal. And so you have the very negative, which is godless, atheist. The negative, which is a cynical unbeliever. The positive, which adjective is religious, and the noun is believer. And the very positive, which is a zealous zealot. And so you can see the positive attributes or the positive personality traits that a character could have to bring out more of this. And then you have the negative personality traits that would cause us to be lower. And so what zeal does in an AI character is it determines how often that character will join holy wars. So if you have a lot of neighboring rulers that are not of the same religion as you, you need to pay attention to their zeal because it will determine if they're coming after you in a holy war or not. And so that could be a huge factor, especially if you're a smaller country. You want to pay attention to very zealous rulers around you that will seek to take your land through means of a holy war. These next two AI personality attributes don't actually have any adjectives or nouns assigned to them, but they do play out and it will cause them to interact with you and the other characters in the world And so we want to make you aware of them, even though you won't ever see it up in their actual personality name. And so the 8th personality attribute is energy. And so with energy, you can see the positive traits here that give a character more energy, and the negative ones that give them less energy and make them less energetic to do things. So this, and what energy does as an attribute is it determines how that AI personality, how often they are going to consider a decision. So this could be if you're trying to invite someone to a feast, or if you go on a hunt, you'll probably see less energetic AI personalities going to these things. And finally, our 9th AI personality is sociability. And sociability determines, probably pretty obviously, it determines how often the character will consider a character interaction. And so if you're swaying someone with a lot less sociability, they're probably not going to be around you a lot. They're not gonna like those interactions, versus someone who is more likely to want to be around other people. You're probably going to have a lot more interactions with them and be able to make decisions with them and have a relationship with them because they like being around them. And so you see the positive traits. Some of them are very obvious, like obviously gregarious. They want to be around people. And then, as we know, one of the worst negative traits in the game is shy. And if you have someone who's shy, it's probably going to be harder to interact with them on a social level. So let's take a look at this first AI personality. So we can see that this AI character, he's one of our neighboring rulers. He has the personality attribute description of a zealous paragon. All right, he got this from his personality traits of being just, zealous, and ambitious. And when it added up all these hidden personality attributes, he got assigned with the adjective of zealous and the noun of paragon. So I'm just going to break this down for you on how he got this personality trait. So let's take a look at this neighboring ruler near us, and we can see that the personality traits that he has as an AI personality and character is just, zealous, and ambitious. And so when you filter through this, you can see that what it would add up to be is, you can see the different attributes here and what that adds, all those 9 attributes that factor out, what it adds up to be. And then what it does is it takes your highest amount, which in this case would be zeal. He has 220, and so it gives him a very positive adjective of zealous. And then his second is honor, has 180, and it would give him the very positive noun of paragon. But don't miss, like, yes, those first 2 show up in a personality trait, to just quickly review their personality so you can immediately know kind of how they're going to interact with you. But don't forget, he still has 75 greed. So he may be zealous and honorable, but he's still greedy. Like, he still has 75 greed. He still has 95 energy, and so he will interact with you, but he's not going to give up things because he's greedy. He has 20 sociability, and so he may not want to be around you a lot, but he has a lot of energy to make decisions, and 10 vengeful. So you can do a little bit of wrong to him without him wanting to act out against you. And so that's just a quick way to realize what the AI, like why those personalities are assigned, what it lets you know, and how that causes them to interact with you. And what I'd say is pay really attention to those. Maybe as you grow bigger, it won't really matter and affect you with neighboring rulers. But I do think it's something to really pay attention to with vassals, and especially if you have a limited amount of vassals and you can educate most of their children, you can actually steer the personality traits of those future vassals of yours towards positive AI personality attributes that would give them more honor. Maybe it would give them more zeal. If you want to do some of your own holy wars, they would jump in. Maybe it gives them less boldness, so they won't just stand up to you. Maybe it gives them more compassion, so they'll be more forgiving with you. And so you can walk through this, and it kind of gives a different angle on education, because it allows you to prepare in a futuristic way to cause your vassals to just want to follow you instead of getting upset with you and wanting independence, and so on and so forth. The same for family. If you wanted to do this with family, just so your dynasty, likes you more and stuff. It's as in Crusader Kings 3, I think we've learned it's you can go about as deep as you want to go, and if you want to keep it more just I'm going to play this character and get as far as I can, you can do that too. But I hope this was helpful for you to understand why those personality attributes are there, and then how it causes you to interact, and really the AI to interact with you throughout the game. If you do me a huge favor and like and subscribe, yes, it does help the channel. It does let me know that these type of tutorials help you out. And feel free to write in the comments. I want to learn from you just as much as I'm trying to share information with you. I know I'm going to overlook things. I know I'm going to learn new things from those things that are shared in the comments. So please share those as well. And I look forward to continuing to play this game, continuing to love it, and continuing to see how it develops over the course of time. And I will check you next time.